Hello, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, the pleb is back. In today's report, well, it happened again. Joe Rogan absolutely unloads on Justin Trudeau once again. And the footage is absolutely glorious. As well, tonight, Danielle Smith was on a podcast this week and defended the farmers and said that a carbon tax could be coming to human beings. As well, tonight, Pierre Poilievre absolutely puts Jagmeet Singh on blast and calls him out for selling out Canada for his bloody pension. And in our last story tonight, Bill Maher calls out the left over their absolute crazy assassination conspiracy theories. You won't want to miss today's episode. Stick around. Before we start tonight's report, are you absolutely fed up of the bias of the liberal media? If the answer is yes, smash the subscribe button because I'm going to show you the news the mainstream media won't. Welcome to your Saturday report. Now, I was going to take a day off today, but I have way too many good stories to share with you. Tonight's first story will be the reason you clicked on this video. It actually happened again. Joe Rogan put Trudeau on blast for being an absolute communist. Now, I've been a Joe Rogan fan for many, many years, but watching him stand up for Canada in the last couple of years has made this dude an absolute legend. So without further ado, let's go see what Joe Rogan has to say about Trudeau this time.
I love Canada.
Vancouver's one of the most beautiful
I don't
cities.
go to Canada anymore. But
Ever?
No.
You went to a gig there?
Not while that guy's president. Fuck you.
Yeah,
or
but
whatever he is,
these
prime
people
minister.
are fans of yours. They want to see you still.
Fuck you. Get rid of that guy. I'll come back. I just don't trust any of it up there.
Yeah.
I just think that they're so far into tyranny right now. Like the laws that they're passing, the shit that they're doing, the erosion of people's rights. Like I don't want to support it. I think it's fucking horrible.
Yeah, but
Boom!
I think a lot of people there just want to laugh. I think people need a laugh. You know?
Oh yeah, they definitely need a laugh.
Yeah.
They're in the middle of a full-blown communist takeover. Yeah, it's a scary spot.
Yeah.
It's scary. But it used to be amazing. I used to say that Canada's 20% less douchebags. Like the people are 20% nicer than most people that you meet in America.
They're polite.
But that's why they get roped into all this shit. That's why they get roped into hate speech laws because they want to be kind. They want to be good people. They don't realize like compelled speech has a terrible ending. It always ends in communism because someone has to compel that speech. Who does? The people with guns. And they tell you what to do.
Yeah.
And then you have violence that is enforced to get people to follow a doctrine that they may or may not believe in.
Wow. It is a full-blown communist takeover here in Canada, and Joe Rogan nails it here, saying that the government is using our kindness against us as a weapon. Yes, because Canadians, we are the nicest people, and this is why our government is abusing us. Now, Joe Rogan isn't a fan of Trudeau. He won't come back here until we get rid of Trudeau. But 6 months ago on his podcast, he did say that he is a big fan of Pierre Poilievre. What?
Well, he likes that Pierre guy. What's that guy's name?
I don't know.
Pierre Poilievre. What is his name? There's the guy who's the reasonable Republican type character or conservative character. What is the
Poilievre.
Pierre Poilievre. That guy's very smart.
Okay.
He's very interesting. There's a really funny video. I don't know if you ever saw it, but he's eating an apple and he's talking to this reporter, and the reporter keeps asking him really stupid questions. Like, what do you mean by that? Like, what does that mean? And like he catches this reporter, like says who's saying this? And have you seen that video?
I've never seen it.
Jamie will find it.
Currently, you're obviously taking the populist pathway.
What does that mean?
Well, appealing to people's more emotional levels, I would guess. I mean,
What do you mean by that?
certainly you
Give me an
tap very strong ideological language quite frequently.
Like what?
Left wing, this and that, right wing.
This and that.
It's like just buzzwords.
I never really talk about left
But
or right.
anyways, a lot
I
of
don't
people.
really believe in that.
Okay.
Taking a
It's a longer conversation, but it's very interesting because it just shows you the level of the level of sophistication of these fucking dopey reporters that are covering this kind of shit. Now they are just trying to always play God.
No doubt about it, Joe Rogan can't stand Justin Trudeau, and in a Fight Companion podcast a couple of months ago as well, he pleaded to Canadians to get our together and elect Pierre Poilievre.
Canada, get your shit together. Come back. Come back to what you used to be. That Pierre Poilievre guy, however you say his name. That guy makes sense.
Joe Rogan is the perfect example of a liberal that moved to the right because of how woke and wacko the left has become. And he's not the only one. Jimmy Dore has this same realization as well. It's a little old, but it's still relevant.
Justin Trudeau is very unpopular because he's an authoritarian Nazi. And what does a Nazi do? A Nazi calls the people who stand up to him Nazis. And that's what he did. Peaceful trucker protesters, he froze their bank accounts, called them white supremacists and Nazis, which he knew was a lie, and illegally invoked the Emergency Powers Act. And now he has to meet the people. And whenever he meets the people, they hate him like they should.
As they should. LOL. Absolutely perfect ending there. But thankfully, this Trudeau regime is on its last couple of breaths here because we have a real fighter finally, Pierre Poilievre, and we love him because he calls out things the way they are. Like yesterday when he went on television and called out Jagmeet Singh for selling out his country for a pension, something we have been saying for years. And now Pierre Poilievre is saying it too.
Are you confident in Jagmeet Singh that he will support or not support this budget moving forward, which would of course trickle into an election if he does not support this?
Let's be honest, Jagmeet Singh is only concerned about his pension.
Yes.
I mean, let's cut the crap, right?
Let's go.
He has to wait until January of 2025 to be eligible for a pension. So he's worried that if the election happens and he loses, he won't have a pension. So he's making everyone pay the massive bill of keeping Justin Trudeau around so that he can get to pension eligibility and continue to fund his fancy suits and watches and Beamers. And that's what he's all about. It's a greedy position, but that's what you got with Jag and Justin, a costly coalition that tax your food, punish your work, take your money, double your housing costs, and unleash crime and chaos in your community. But when the carbon tax election happens, you'll be able to elect a common sense government that will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime.
Pierre Poilievre is starting to sound like the comment section underneath every single one of Jagmeet Singh's posts, and I'm absolutely here for it. But Pierre Poilievre is not the only conservative superstar we have here in Canada. We also have Danielle Smith, and this week she stood up for the farmers. She said that if we don't stop this climate change madness, they're going to put a carbon tax on human beings simply for existing. Clearly, Danielle Smith is awesome, and she doesn't want us eating the bugs.
Agriculture, because they've been waiting to do this. And I've been watching this for some time. I've been giving speeches for years telling our beef farmers as well as our other food producers that they started with a campaign against coal. They shifted to a campaign against fracking. They shifted again to a campaign against oil sands. Now they're shifting again to food production. And they were very delighted after COP28 to say, oh, good, we finally got food on the table. And I remember reading an article from an extreme environmental website decrying the fact that 80% of food production comes from fossil fuel energy. They need fossil fuels to be able to operate their equipment and be able to get the grain to market and do all the transportation. But when you attack our food producers, it dramatically backfires. Look what happened in the Netherlands. Denmark, I have just read, is now putting a tax on belching and flatulating cattle, $100 carbon tax on cows. And you have to wonder at what point are people going to say enough is enough? Because I'll have to tell you, like, the next logical step is if belching and farting and breathing is now a sin, how long before they start putting a carbon tax on human beings? Because guess what?
Yes, you know it's coming. Danielle is once again being extremely based.
breathing is now a sin, how long before they start putting a carbon tax on human beings? Because guess what? We're all belching and farting and breathing creatures as well. So I think they may have overplayed their hand in going after our food producers. Our food producers are some of our most highest esteemed industries and professionals in any economy.
Heroes.
Certainly far above lawyers and used car salesmen and politicians. And so to go after our food producers in this way, it doesn't make sense, especially since the entire practice of food production is understanding the carbon cycle. When you have a grain that you're producing, you have to capture CO2 from the air. It goes into the head of that grain. People eat it, and then it gets recycled again. The entire process of food production works with the carbon cycle. And so for them to be attacking the very nature of food production and how the carbon cycle works, I think they've gone too far. I think it's one thing to apply this weird paradigm on industry. I just don't think that they can carry it over to food production without having the kind of outcomes that we're seeing around the world, where farmers are pushing back and people are pushing back.
Thank you, Danielle Smith, for spitting common sense facts. I don't want to eat the bugs either. This is why I put this right here. It's a reminder of how crazy the left is. I'm not eating your bugs. And speaking of how crazy the left is, this week was no exception, and the left continues spewing their conspiracy theories about Trump's assassination attempt.
Information that the injury to Trump's ear in the assassination attempt was actually from a bullet. We have to now assume that they're lying about something that happened to Trump on Saturday. No one has confirmed it, and there is no good reason why no one has confirmed it.
These are the same people calling us conspiracy theorists. And with what happened to Trump, they're actually being exposed themselves as being the conspiracy theorists. When they call us that, they're just simply projecting. And the conspiracy theories are so crazy from the left that even Bill Maher had to call it out on his show to try to put an end to this because it's making the left look stupid.
Next day, Trump got shot, okay? And let me just say right up front, you should be as angry about that as if the candidate you like got shot.
Boom.
You should.
Common sense.
You should also be angry that the Secret Service allowed some kid with a sniper rifle and a rangefinder to get past the metal detectors. What?
Yeah.
The TSA once tackled me over a bottle of Visine.
True.
So let me, look, Don, I know we've had our little differences over the years, but I must say, you know, I was in Minneapolis that day. It happened just a few hours before I had to go on stage. The first thing I said was, there will be people who find this funny, not me. There will be people, and there already have been, who made the joke that, oh, it's a shame that it didn't work, this assassination. Not me. Liberals don't shoot each other. And they don't revel in it. And they don't wish for it. So that's what I would say to Donald Trump. I'm glad you're okay, because if you weren't, I couldn't keep making jokes about you. And I really want to be doing it.
I feel the same way about Trudeau. Gotta give it up to Bill Maher. I used to be a huge fan of his show, and I'm happy to see the TDS recess a little bit so that he can spit common sense facts like this. It's good to see Bill coming back to his senses. In our next story of the night, we're going to take it back to the Joe Rogan podcast, the same episode we featured on the first clip of this channel. And Joe Rogan still has questions about what happened on Saturday. He is not buying it whatsoever.
The Trump thing, the shooter, all the stuff that's coming out about the shooter now, the more you read about it, the more you're like, what is going on?
Like a BlackRock thing too, right?
Yeah, he did a BlackRock commercial. They knew that there was a suspicious person 10 minutes before Trump went on stage. They still wouldn't let him go on stage. They saw him on the fucking roof, and they didn't engage.
Yeah.
They saw him on the roof with a rifle.
It's a bad Secret Service right there.
They wouldn't put Secret Service agents on the roof because they said there was a slope to the roof.
Right.
And it would be dangerous.
It's more dangerous if the ex-president gets shot.
Bro,
which he did.
They let him get off. The kid got off 3 shots. And apparently there was one that we saw that hit his ear, and you see the bullet. Like, the photographer got a bullet flying by his head.
Yeah.
But apparently there's another one of a bullet going by his left side of his head. So it went by the right side of his head, hit his ear, went by the left side of his head as well. Because the guy got off 3 shots.
Yeah.
And he just missed Trump every time.
There was the one shot of him like turning his head. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? It was that close?
Dude, it's so crazy.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. And the fact that they had such poor security guarding him, like they did such a terrible job.
My
They
uncle's
knew the guy
convinced
was
it's
there.
bullshit. My
Dude.
uncle's like, there's no way this is real.
I don't think it's not real, but look, here's the deal. Okay, I'm not accusing anybody of anything. Just want to be real clear.
Yeah.
But they have organized assassinations before.
Sure.
And when they organize
Usually starts a war.
assassinations, it looks just like that. And when they organize assassinations, one of the things they like to do is have some fucking loser kill the president, and then they kill the fucking loser, and that's a wrap. This
Yeah.
kid kind of like stops all the leads.
Oh,
Everything's like, where's he go? So they have his phone. They say they can't get into his phone.
Bullshit.
Bitch, I know you read my text messages.
Yeah, why is it
How
taking
can
so
you
long
not
to
get
break
in that
into this
kid's
shit?
phone? How can you not get in that kid's phone?
It's always
They
shit.
knew that if this kid was going to go on the roof and shoot the president, they could talk him into going on the roof. Let's assume, not even this scenario, because
Yeah.
let's not be crazy. Let's just say if you wanted to set up a scenario, we're going to have someone assassinate the president. You get some guy whose life is a fucking complete and total disaster. You either hypnotize him or you mentor him, you give him psychiatric drugs, you do a bunch of things, you get him to do it, and you know that once he gets on top of that roof and shoots the president, everyone's going to shoot him. And it's nice and clean. They never let those guys live.
My question is, though, how, of course, but my question is, do you want him actually to kill Trump in this scenario?
Yeah. They definitely wanted him to kill Trump.
Wow. Joe Rogan now thinks that they wanted the shooter to end Trump's life, that it was all deliberate. That is truly wild. It's crazy when you think of it, how close we were to a civil war if that bullet actually went through Trump's head. This is really a perfect example here of bullet goes through, civil war, bullet misses, affordable groceries. So that's what Joe Rogan thinks about the shooting. Now we'll move things over back to Bill Maher, who had Pete Buttigieg on his show last night, and he asked him, why haven't you fired the DEI Secret Service director?
Should Joe Biden have fired the Secret Service head? I mean, I don't understand that.
I'm not in on all the details of the Homeland Security side. I know there's a really serious after-action report and process and a whole lot of scrutiny going on there. I think, everything that led up to that moment, that horrible moment, is under a microscope. And I believe that President Biden and the administration will do the right thing.
But you didn't need a microscope to see it.
Yeah, but you
The guy
also...
was on the roof, like not that far away, with a rifle for a long time. I mean, I've seen people fired for less. And it just looks bad. It looks like, well, the other guy from the other party got shot. We'll look into it if we have time.
I think it's that when something of this gravity happens, you don't just dash off a decision. You do a comprehensive process to find every single piece of anything that could go wrong. And then there's going to be accountability and there's going to be change. I'm sure of that. Again, I'm not in the middle of that, obviously. That's not my lane. But I know that's what's going to happen.
I used to be a big fan of Bill Maher, and he's slowly winning me back. I got to give him kudos for last night's episode because for a liberal, the dude definitely kept it real. And he's calling out the DEI Secret Service. DEI is costing people lives. Here is a perfect example. All right, let's get ready for some DEI police here.
Diversity, equity, inclusion. What does it mean? Well, this is exactly what it means. A couple of overweight cops that can't even catch up with the suspect as Nadine outruns the International House of Pancakes running after her and still can't catch her, and she's off into the night. This is the end result of DEI.
For sure.
Look, hire a woman.
For sure.
Make sure she's qualified for the job. Not because of the color of her skin or who the hell she wants to sleep with. Never catch me with a doctor who is hired based on DEI alone. That.
Just absolutely perfect. This DEI crap has to go, and we're going to keep calling it out on this channel because I really do think it's costing people lives. And speaking of DEI, well, I have a new video for you guys with some David Attenborough narration of one of the biggest DEI hires there's ever been, Kamala Harris. Okay, watch this video. It's absolutely brilliant. I love the Attenborough.
Once this crusty old jackass finally agrees to head off to an ice cream-filled retirement home in Delaware, we will be left with the most disgusting creature known as the Suckerlottercox.
You're welcome.
The Suckerlottercox, it appears, was not the first choice of the Democrats to succeed the jackass. However, due to their steadfast commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion policies, they find themselves stuck with this cackling idiot.
We win!
This bird-brained diversity hire was initially brought into the fold as a gesture of virtue signaling and inclusion. Now the Democrats are in a delicate predicament. Should they replace the Suckerlottercox with a more qualified candidate, they would undoubtedly face a chorus of accusations concerning racism and sexism.
They played themselves.
For your day of action. And again, 226.
She's so weird.
Thus, despite her evident lack of qualifications, intelligence, or capability, it seems the Suckerlottercox is poised to contend for the highest office in the land.
Indeed.
This narrative, while bearing elements of tragicomedy, serves as a poignant reminder of the dangers and potential pitfalls inherent in DEI policies and the broader phenomenon of woke politics.
So you heard it here, folks. Wokeness is literally costing people their lives. But thankfully, this DEI crap is on its way out, and people are starting to wake up, including someone who had some serious TDS in 2020, none other than Mark Zuckerberg, who apparently started lifting weights, taking testosterone, and now, well, he may vote for Trump in the next election.
I've done some stuff personally in the past. I'm not planning on doing that this time. And that includes, not endorsing either of the candidates. Now, look, there's obviously a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. The historic events over the last, over the weekend. And, on a personal note, it's, seeing Donald Trump get up after getting shot in the face and pump his fist in the air with the American flag is one of the most badass things I've ever seen in my life.
Facts.
But look, it's, and I think, look, it's, at some level as an American, it's hard to not get kind of emotional about that spirit and that fight. And I think that's why a lot of people like the guy.
I'm not officially endorsing anyone this election means, yeah, he's voting for Trump too. You love to see people come around, admit they were wrong. There's nothing better than that. We're waking people up. All right, guys, that's going to be a wrap here for today's show, but tell me in the comments. I read every single comment. Joe Rogan blasting Trudeau again. Was that awesome? Did you guys agree with what Rogan said? Also, Bill Maher pleading to the left to snap out of their psychosis. Are you enjoying seeing Bill Maher waking up? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, is Danielle Smith the best premier in all of Canada? Tell me in the comments down below what you think of Danielle Smith. If you enjoy my brand of journalism and you want to help out this channel, well, you already did it by watching the video, but you really want to help out, drop a comment. That helps out a ton, and I read all of them. Like this video, share it with your friends. Tell your friends about that crazy Canadian called the Pleb Reporter on YouTube. If you want to support me even more, you can buy a membership for $5 Canadian. Join us, become a member, $5 Canadian. Practically free. Our money's worth nothing. Anyways, that was today's show. Double P, hit us with the outro.
Hey, guys. Hey, keep up the great work. Thank you, guys. You hear that? Keep up the great work. Keep up the great work. Let's bring it home. Let's bring it home. The Pleb.
See you guys tomorrow. Peace.